we're here now to talk a little bit about ICE, which is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and sanctuary cities. People have to understand what happens in a sanctuary city and what doesn't happen in a sanctuary city. What the heck is a sanctuary city to begin with? Well, a sanctuary city is a city that limits the cooperation between the local authorities and the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So if you're in a sanctuary city, the local cops, the local firemen, your local librarian, the clerk at the marriage bureau, the judge, your local judge, the clerk and the judge, the bailiff in the courthouse, all your local government officials, the garbage man, whoever it is who works for the government, does not really cooperate with Immigration and Customs Enforcement in helping to enforce immigration laws. And if they come across somebody who's out of status or somebody who's violated their visa status, what the sanctuary city says is we are preventing our local government officials, our local government workers, our civil servants from cooperating with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Now, that doesn't mean that they're never going to hand somebody over. For example, I know in New York City, if you're convicted of over 158 crimes, sanctuary city or no sanctuary city, New York City is going to hang you over. These are some major sanctuary cities in America: New York City, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Chicago, Denver, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle. The major sanctuary cities is where most of the immigrants are living. You got to know, number one, that if you're in a sanctuary city, you have more rights than if you are not living in a sanctuary city. And you also have to know what your rights are. Sanctuary city or no sanctuary city. There is a Constitution of the United States, ladies and gentlemen, and there is a Fourth Amendment to that Constitution which protects everybody who is living in America from random and arbitrary stops and searches. You can't be walking down the street and be asked to stop and be searched randomly. Okay? These are basic constitutional issues. And because of this, if you're walking down the street, unless ICE has set up a border checkpoint, and that would have to be within 100 miles of a water or land border crossing, unless there's a checkpoint and they're stopping everybody. If you're just walking down the street and an ICE agent comes over to you and says, hey, let me see your identification, my opinion, people can differ, my opinion is you have every right to ignore them and keep walking unless they have a reasonable suspicion to stop you. How are they going to have a reasonable suspicion to stop you? Why does one person look like an illegal alien and another person doesn't? Because of the color of their skin or how they look? There is nobody who looks like an illegal alien. So therefore, I would continue, and I think any ICE officer that stops you, that would be an illegal stop, and we would fight that in a courtroom. So if you are stopped, it depends on the situation whether or not you are obligated to hand over identification. If it is literally a random stop where ICE goes, hey, you, let me see your ID, you can keep walking. If it's a different situation, there's some sort of criminal activity or a raid on a workplace where they have information that there's illegal aliens working in that workplace, well then yes, you would more likely not have as many rights to not hand over your identification. It's on a case-by-case basis. But generally speaking, I would tell you if you're walking down the street and you just come across an ICE officer or they come across you in the subway or on a train and they say, hey, give me your identification, you have every right not to give it to them. So their rules and regulations are, for stopping people anyway, aliens engaged in terrorism or espionage, if you're part of a street gang, if you have been convicted of a serious felony or aggravated felony, those are their priorities. Those are the people that they're looking to stop. So unless they have some reasonable suspicion that you're a terrorist, you're a member of a gang, or you've already been convicted of a felony, they have overstepped their bounds by asking to stop you and then asking you for identification. If this happens, what do? You call me. You call Brad Bernstein, you call another competent attorney, you call an attorney to protect your rights. If you don't protect your rights, and by calling a good attorney to represent you, then you are basically giving up your rights. This is how you protect yourself. You protect yourself with good attorneys who know what the Constitution is about, who know what your rights are, and who can stand up for you. That is what you do. There are sanctuary cities. These sanctuary cities, you don't have to worry about dealing with the local police. You do not have to worry that an ICE officer is going to stop you randomly in the street, because that would be a violation of your rights. But even in sanctuary cities, ICE is still on the lookout. Be careful and make sure you speak to a very good attorney like myself to know all your rights.